It's 4 o'clock on Thursday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo, baby! Yeah! And welcome, everybody. Thank you, fake audience. Thank you, very fake band. Let's see who's in that chat room today. We've got, so far, Bob Gunnerfeld, Dan Weber, Jesse J. Peck, Il Rosso Emil. Get my chair situated. Hello, guys. Nancy Kalel, who's so happy to be here. Pete Mason, Edmund Red. Whoever the people are that complain about me calling out the names, just suck it up and just know that it's going to take 3 minutes. Just fast forward. Or watch like real TV for 3 minutes. Hello, Peter Rahill, Martin Gravel. I am trying the pop-out chat today in the middle of my screen, just underneath my chin, so that, and I moved the camera to the middle of my laptop screen. I'm really trying new stuff today. Hello, Darren. Hello, Windchime. Shara D. Hello, Glenn Letts. How is Michael Laskow's Wild Kingdom? Hey, JP, how are you? Hello, Jan Weilage. No exciting animal activity today. Thank goodness for that. No tomatoes were harmed in the making of this production. It's so hot. I was just out in the backyard about a half an hour ago. It's really hot. Hello, Pierre. Andre... Yep, the taxi cab has changed position. I forget who sends me messages about that, but I move it every now and then just to mess with his head, because that's the kind of guy I am. Hello, Mark Dolan. Are you new in town, or have you been a lurker up until now? I've never seen your name in the chat that I remember. The air conditioning is going to be pumping throughout the entire episode today, I have a feeling. It's really friggin' hot. Let's see, how hot is it? Oh, it's only 93. It's like a cold spell. Hello, Rick Cabot Podmore, Daryl Berman. All right, so I'm kind of waiting for Tony Salazzo to show up, because he was the only one. By the way, go in right now and smash that like button. Oh, Mark Dolan's been watching the videos. Glad you're enjoying them. Thanks for watching. Edmund Red says he's not getting the notification when I go live. Try hitting that little notification bell. And also maybe unsubscribe and resubscribe to the channel or something like that. There you are, Mr. Salazzo. How are you? Pierre, honestly, I don't know what's going on with the fires. It's just weird. It's like no smoke, nothing in the sky here. I guess it's... far enough away from where we are and the wind's blowing the other direction, we're not getting any sense that there's a fire. Oh, nice. Peter Rahill, inspired by the CSNY stuff I played the other day. Just recorded my own CSN-ish 3 parts for a new project. Big on the ish. Hello, Paul Rickert. Wow, Nancy. I didn't know Azusa was having fire stuff. Are you guys okay? I hope your neighbors are all fine. Thank you for the like, Pete Mason. You guys had a small typhoon in Hong Kong yesterday. No damage, though. That's good. That's the best kind of typhoon, is a small one. Oh, I guess the best kind is no typhoon at all. Hello, Lucian. I didn't realize you were local. I'm putting that in air quotes, Nancy, but I'm... Wow, you were evacuated a week ago today. We know what that feels like. It's not fun. It's really disarming, disorienting. It's something. Hello, Rick White. Anyway, yeah, we've been, I think it's 2 years ago we got evacuated now. It's right after the road rally, a few days after the rally, and we went back to the Westin, thinking that they would give me the presidential suite again because I'm their biggest customer. But you know what we got? The smallest room they had, and we were damn grateful to get that. The place was sold out, even though it was like, 20 miles away from the areas being evacuated. And when I told my wife I wanted to go back to the Westin, figuring we get the big spacious room with the dining room and the kitchenette and everything, she's like, why would we go that far away? Well, as it turns out, we almost had to go farther. It is surreal. That's the only way to describe it. I remember many years ago, 1994, after the Northridge earthquake, I do remember commenting to my wife that, you're changing channels and you see a little video clip on a news channel about some poor people like flooding in, let's say, Alabama or somewhere. It's another state far, far away. By the way, my swollen tongue's still an issue today. Not as bad, though. And you look at these poor people like standing on a rooftop waving at helicopters. Please pick me up, get me out of here. And you go, oh, that poor person or that poor family. And then you keep changing channels. And that's it. You get that momentary thing about, sucks for them. It's horrible. It's not until it happens to you or in your own backyard to go, oh, now I get it. No running water, no electricity, can't go to the grocery store. Oh, it's like quarantine, but we get electricity. Thank God for that, and running water and working toilets. That's the other thing after the earthquake with no running water. Every time you use the toilet, we had to go down we lived in an apartment complex in Woodland Hills. We had to go down 3 stories to the pool and bring up buckets of water and dump them in the toilet. But hey, could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. Hello, Cass McKenty, John Hope, Songs from a Headband, Heidi Owen. All right, so Tony Salazzo was kind enough. He was the only person, not that I'm making you feel guilty or anything. Let's see. There's a little sound effect for you. Wow, is this still going on? Stop. There we go. Anyway, he was the only one who was nice enough to go into the comments last night and make a suggestion, and I actually like it. Where's my pencil or pen? So Tony said, hi, the biggest issue I have with Taxi TV is not the banter. But for 2 days in a row, the tiny taxis had the boot, the trunk, and the rear door open, and no one has had the guts to ask, what? Anywho, yet another possibly lame suggestion. Man, you got to work on your self-esteem, Tony. It's not a lame suggestion. For tomorrow's show is talking about the tools of the trade. For example, we all use DAWs, libraries, interfaces, instruments, etc. And it might be helpful for the chat room community to share some recommendations and comments. So I really like that idea, and I agree we should do that. Okay, so how about let's start out with everybody who is running your DAW or your studio on a Mac, do a +1. And then we're going to take a little head count of Mac users versus PC users, because I'm actually curious about that. Wow, Jesse's out of beer. He's doing vodka shooter. Sweet. Hello, David Neal. Come on, keep him rolling in. Paul Etheridge. Dan Weber gives a -1, says, I wish. Oh, man. Do you know, I don't even know how to turn on a PC. I literally do not know how. Oh, Nancy Kalel's having a tequila sunrise. Sweet. All right, so let's count them up. Let's see what we've got here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, there we go. Oh, Bria's already counting. Bria's in the house today, actually. Liz is getting her tooth fixed today, which I'm happy for for her because nothing worse than tooth pain. So we've got 13 Macs. Let's see how many PC users. Make that 14 if we include Mr. Gunnerfeld, who's a little late to that party. No, Bria's not getting her tooth fixed. It's Liz. Bria's teeth, Bria has excellent teeth. Really spectacularly good teeth on that young lady. All right, here we go. PCs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. One Mac master and 2 PC slaves. That's probably not PC to even say the word slave anymore, but I think in the context of computer talk, I could probably do it. PC stands for poor computer. All right, so the PCs win by a couple of notches. Actually, we had a couple of latecomers on the Mac countdown, so I'm going to call it about even. That's interesting. Years ago, we did some sort of research. I think we surveyed taxi members, excuse me, in the forum, and we found out that back then, this is probably like 10 years ago, there were actually still more PC users. Andre has both. Sounds fishy. Fish joke for Andre. All right. So that's interesting. And now let's do, how many people are running Logic? Obviously, only the Mac users. +1 for Logic. Pearson's probably the biggest Logic fan that I know. Although, I don't know anybody who ever bashes Logic. Guys will be happy to know that I spent the last half hour before we came on the air today building my eventual new laptop, because I want to get it up and running and get used to it before the road rally. And so to get a 16-inch MacBook Pro with a terabyte solid state drive, 64 gigs of RAM, graphic upgrade, which is like $100. I think that's about it. Bottom line is, it's a $3,800 computer. Wow. The one I'm using right now, which is a 2015, and I bought a refurb. I always buy refurbs, but I'm not buying a refurb this time because it's got to run the road rally, so I'm not taking any chances. Anyway, that new computer, $3,800. This one that I'm on now, I want to say it was $2,200. Man, oh man, oh man. For the first time ever, I think I'm going to do the pay $291 a month option or whatever that is. It's unbelievably expensive, but I got to say, I've been using Mac computers forever. So 12 Logic users. So virtually everybody who's on a Mac is using Logic. Okay, now let's see how many people... let's see. Sorry. Andre says $6,000 for iMac laptop, heats up, needs ice cubes underneath. Yeah, but look at the bright side. The ice cubes are free. Oh, man. Vinyl and a sharp-beaked woodpecker. There you go. With the little funnel sticking out of his butt just to give him extra projection. All right. How many Pro Tools users do we have? +1s on Pro Tools. I get nervous now. Every time the chat slows down and nothing happens, I worry that it died on me. +1s for Pro Tools. Wake up, people. Come on. So far, Pierre is the only one. I have a very bad... There we go. John Hope. Come on. There we go. Here they come. Rick Cabot, Podmore, Lucian Luz. That's it. Wow. Pro Tools not represented very well in the house today. Um, how many of you are on Cubase? Mr. Orzechowski. By the way, Robert, notice where the cab is at today. Figured I'd go for a new angle. Avid does not treat their customers very well. Who does treat their customers well anymore? I know, Taxi does. Our staff is the best. For Cubase. Um, can I get the cab to hang from the clock? I'm not going to try that. Yeah, Sweetwater. I've heard amazingly good things about Sweetwater's customer service. Thank you guys. How many of you guys, thank you for those compliments. Our member services people are awesome, I've got to say. Really, really fortunate to have them on board. How many of you, this is totally on music related, but how many people in the room have American Home Shield? Which I'm not afraid to say publicly has some of the worst customer service I've ever encountered in my life. Yeah, it's that company, you pay like $600 a year or something ridiculous, and every time, like your garbage disposal breaks or you have an interior plumbing issue, it's basically on top of your homeowner's insurance, and they cover broken appliances, your washer, your dryer, your refrigerator, your air conditioning. Anyway, every time you call them to fix something, they're more than happy to send out a plumber for $75. You pay like $600 a year and then a $75 service fee. So even if the parts and the labor on the plumbing issue would have come to $350, you only paid $75 plus the $600. And typically we call them 2 or 3 times a year for stuff, so it's probably close to breaking even. But we had an electrical panel or circuit breaker panel on the outside of the house was sparking and melting and just about ready to burn the house down a couple of years ago. And man, oh man, we had to use a ton of profanity and many, many phone calls and a lot of screaming. A lot of nastiness to get them to actually pay for that thing. They did not want to pay for that. The other day when my air conditioner was broke, I called them up thinking it might have been the compressor, which is $3,000 to $4,000, and the air conditioner's covered. And they said, okay, well, it's going to be about 3 days before we can get somebody to come out and look. These were 100-degree days, and it was the upstairs air conditioner that was out. And then after that, if they determine it is the compressor, we have to determine if you've played by all the rules, having annual checkups on your air conditioning. Was the interior of the unit clean and nice, well maintained? Which, of course, they're going to say no. And then if we determine that and have to order you a new compressor, we get it directly from the manufacturer because we get a better price because we buy in bulk. So it's going to take somewhere around 7 to 9 business days to get the compressor in, then another 2 or 3 days. So it was going to be a couple of weeks of 90 to 100-degree weather to get the new compressor. Thank God. I just called another company and said, I don't care, get out here and fix it. And it turned out to be the capacitor and some other thing that helps start the compressor. So it was a $679 adventure instead of a $3,000 or $4,000 one that I would have had to wait 2 weeks. Yeah, I have air conditioning. I do. Okay. Yeah, that's when we originally got the plan when we bought our first house where we live now. Our real estate agent threw it in as a little housewarming gift. Yes, so let's count some Reaper users because I've seen some nice stuff about Reaper in there. Wow, Lori loves her Reaper, as long as it's not the Grim Reaper. No, not Reaper. It's Reaper. So four Reaper users. Uh, all right. And now let's do GarageBand. Ooh, that's a good suggestion, Cass. Using compressed air to blow out the vents on our AC anytime you have a lot of ash in the air from fires. Good suggestion. I did change the filter after the last serious fires. They were just filled. Oh, yeah, Ableton. Okay, we'll do an Ableton. Yeah, Ken Calais told me to back my car up as close as I could get it to the front of the house and run a garden hose from the car with exhaust going down into the gopher holes. Ken Calais, gopher killer. He's my kind of guy. All right. What did we have left? What haven't I asked about yet? I already forgot. Ableton. How many people have Ableton? An FL Studio. Wow, there's so many of them out there. Remember when it just used to be like three? Who's got Atari? Yeah, Studio FL, Studio One. You're right. I mean, remember when there used to be is basically Pro Tools or Logic, or no, in Cubase, I think. Oh, Cakewalk. Didn't Cakewalk become Cubase or something? Or Cakewalk became something. The company went out of business or got sold or something. Anyway, all right. So, bottom line is that roughly, well, the bigger portion of the people who are the regulars here um, use Logic or Pro Tools. There you go. Analog. That would be me. Um, oh, yeah. You guys will be happy to know that the Mac that I haven't ordered yet, but I have put together on the Apple website, I'm getting Pro Tools pre installed. Um, let's see if I can actually find the time to use it. Audacity. Wow, there's so many more. Uh, yeah. How many of you have an SSL or a Neve at home? Not a plug-in, but an actual SSL or a Neve. I would give anything to wake up every morning and have one or the other to sit down and just. I'd never go to work. I'd never talk to my wife. I would never get dressed. I would never take a shower. I would only eat food and play with my console. Yeah, I was going to get Logic. I just haven't gotten around to downloading it. And I figure, okay, if I'm getting this really spiffy computer that's, got 64 gigs of RAM and a terabyte drive. Ooh, Luna has Neve summing. There you go. Wow. Rick works on a Neve 5088 every day. That is, you are blessed. Okay, so now we know, basically, we've got all kinds of stuff that you guys are using. So let's go back to Tony's original question, which is um, if you had to have one library of sounds that if everything else had to go away, you couldn't use them, couldn't access them, couldn't get them to run on your DAW, what's the one that you couldn't live without? And I'm not going to do a survey because it's taken too long. Those poor people that hate me saying hello to all you guys at the top have probably all gone home already. I'm sorry, people. Okay, so what's the one sample library that you couldn't live without? Spitfire BBC SO, Waves SSL. Contact is my only one, but I rarely use it. Interesting. Instruments. East West. Sample library, right? Omnisphere. Yeah, I would say just from walking around the road rally and talking to members over the years that so many people have Omnisphere. Paul Etheridge makes a point, need them all. Yeah, but in this world, in my little world on today's show, you can only have one. Metropolis Arc. Easy Drums. About 3-4 years ago, the people at TuneTracks gave me every product they had at the time. I've got them all sitting on this laptop, so when I get the new laptop, I'm going to have to bring them over. ADO. Nick, I'm going, what's Nick? Oh, it's Native Instruments Contact. There you go. Stylus RMX, Garriton Contact. Jonathan Morse says me. Tune Track. Whoops. Thank you for this. It's the distraction info I need once I dive into an acquisition. You guys are the best. Well, you got Tony Salazzo to thank for this. It was his idea, and it's a good one. Yeah, it's funny. John Pearson, you're one of a few people that's been telling me that you just love the drums in Logic. Presets are awesome from Waves SSL. The Chris Lord Algae. Does anybody know, does he pronounce his name algae, like that green stuff that grows in the inside of your aquarium, or is it algae? Battery 4 drums, amazing samples, interesting. Logic has a drummer robot that's really interesting. Superior drummer. Logic has good sounds. You know, the fact that Logic is $200 and comes with so many great sounds. Rick says pronounce it algae. That's good. Also, Eraso says he really likes the, I can't read that, Saikes? S-A-I-K-E-S multiband saturator. Jonathan Morse likes the strings in Logic. Logic has free updates. You had a guest speaker recently gave it all away for free. Has anyone named his products? What do you mean? It was Rob Shirelli, who's a multi-Grammy winning, multi platinum engineer, mixer, producer guy. So he calls him Final Mix, I think is the product name. Uh, Logic Drummer has an algorithm that's off the charts, split up by genres, and you can dial in fills. Wow. Oh man, I can't wait. The bummer is for the if I ordered that computer, which I was going to just hit the button and do it, and then I realized it wasn't going to deliver until 2 days that I think Deb and I might actually um, not be home for. All right. Now I'm curious to see how many of you ever use a microphone or acoustic instruments in your home studios. So give a +1 if you do a fair amount of acoustic instrument recording with a microphone. Curious to see how many people just never need to use one because everything comes out of a box. Wow. Frankly, I'm surprised. I really am. Paul Etheridge is, what do they call it? Representing for the AKG 414, which is an awesome microphone. You know, back in the day, I would say that was probably my desert island microphone. Um, Andre uses a lot of mics, record acoustic flamenco guitar. There you go. 23 people use mics. Wow, Bria's using her math skills today. Oh, man. Okay, and how many of you never use a microphone? Wow, John Hope does live drums. There's a man after my own heart. Yeah, I agree with you, Peter Rahill. I despise the sound of an acoustic guitar plugged in, even for live gigs. I got to say, if those Rode mics are as well built as my Rodecaster over here, they must be awesome. This thing is built like a tank. It feels. I always compare stuff that's like reasonably priced but really well engineered and constructed to like a BMW 325i. Not a horribly expensive car, you know, it's definitely a premium automobile, but you can just feel the quality and how solid it is when you get into one. Oops, let's see who's calling me. I don't know. Probably one of those production companies about doing the road rally. Um, 414 and a 57. Yeah, if you have those two microphones, I really truly believe that you could do an entire record with just those two microphones. But you can say that about, you know, you could make a whole record with a Neumann 87. Hell, you could make a whole record with the ones Shirelli used to sell, the Gay GCM 87. It's American Home Shield calling. Yeah, they heard about it. Google picked up on what I just said about them on the big episode here today, and they've already sent a guy with a big wrench out to my house. Oh, I'm familiar with Perlman mics. Oh, you mentioned them before. That's right. Rugged Mike's like the 57th. Yeah, if the world disappears, the 57. They should call it the Sure Cockroach. Il Rosso brings up a great point that the mics and smartphones have gotten so good you could probably make a whole album with them. I can't remember the name of the company for the life of me, but years ago, about 8 or 9 years ago, why cannot Apogee? Apogee actually had somebody do an entire, it was either a single or an album using only their phones and a couple of Apogee plugins, not electronic plugins, but things that you plug into your iPhone. Uh, Neumann TLM 103. Good mic. Yeah, I think Bria's right. It was all with the Apogee one, and oh, that's right. But they were recording it, if I remember correctly, either recording it on a phone, on an iPhone, or an iPad. Yeah, I got a field trip one day. The national head of sales for about 15 years at Apogee was an old friend of mine, guy I've known for probably, don't correct me in public, Bria. The What was I just talking about? Now that Apogee stuff threw me off. Oh, when I went to the Apogee place in Santa Monica, their headquarters, um, Apogee, the president of Apogee is married to Bob Clearmountain. And so they put a Neve studio, an old Neve studio, in the Apogee headquarters. And they would let bands come in. They would let people that work at Apogee come in and use the studio and test their products, blah, blah, blah. Um, and because I knew the guy who was like senior VP of national sales or whatever he was, I've known him since like the year I started Taxi. He set the whole thing up, and I saw Clear Mountain, saw his wife. I was talking to them about the road rally. They took me in the studio. We were hanging out. And when I was walking out the door, they gave me a shopping bag full of Apogee products. I kid you not. So I love Apogee. Yep, I love Bob Clearmount. Did I ever tell you guys my the biggest ego stroke I think I've ever had as an engineer? Um, when I worked in New York, I worked at a place called Howard Schwartz Recording. It was largely an audio post facility, but we also did all the remixes the Monday after Saturday Night Live. Whoever the live musical guest was, they were allowed to come in and remix their performance so that they had a better mix than what went out on the air. And I think it was the Pretenders, and I think Clear Mountain was. We had two studios that were called Studio East and Studio West, and I was working on a record in Studio West, which was an SSL room that actually had a nice recording room, albeit with only like a 9-foot ceiling, if you can believe that, just because it was in a high rise, and that's all the ceiling height you could really get. Anyway, I'm sitting in the control room and I'm working on this mix. And I see a face looking through the skinny glass window in the control room door. And I said, come on in, man. And it's Clear Mountain. And I mean, we'd seen each other in the hallway. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And he walks in and says, mind if I hang out for a minute? I said, no. And he sat down and said to me, your drums sound amazing. How did you get that drum sound? It was all I could do not to burst out laughing or crying or something. And I just tried to be all cool about it. Well, Bob, I do this, I do that. And there's no big, like, secret to what I do to get a drum sound. Um, it's like anybody could get that drum sound. Anyway. Wow, Cassie got to sit in on a mix with like Jason Mraz and Bob Clearmountain, or Barry Mraz. I'm not being a very good host today. I'm just like sitting here reading the chat. You know, maybe when I get super busy with the road rally, which I'm starting to get, and Jason, all right. Very nice guy. I've actually met him a couple of times, the Hawaii songwriter thing. Um, I, at some point I'm going to have to do less of the daily hangs. Probably do like Taxi TV on Monday, a Quarantini on Wednesday, and a Quarantini on Friday. Excuse me, not quite there yet, but I feel it coming. And I'm thinking what I do is just have Liz go open up the chat room every day so you guys can hang out. I've got a lot of bottom end of the snare ML. We're still struggling to get that sound today. Oh, are you talking about the stuff, the Melanie stuff that I played, or the CSN stuff? Um, anyway, yeah, I was taught by the best. That's all I can say is it was just a great time to work at Criteria Studios with great people that were like 3, 4, 5 years ahead of me that I got to learn from, and some people like Tommy Dowd that were like decades ahead of me. Friday Foibles, a weekly journey into your recording career stories. I think you've heard every one of the stories, at least every one that I can talk about publicly. The Tascam DR40. Wow. Oh, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the compliment on the snare sound. I've got to say, if there was one instrument that um, I was super proud of, yeah, my snare sound people often complimented me on it, and I had it down to a science and could get it rather quickly. As I've mentioned on the show, it always befuddled me how my colleagues would, break out sheets of plywood, hang microphones from the ceiling, do 3, 4, 5 different mic changes in a day, complete drum set mic changes, and do this stuff where, got to get the perfect drum sound. They could have gotten the perfect drum sound in less than an hour. They were just charging by the hour and blowing smoke. Always kind of bummed me out. I'd rather waste that time on getting a great vocal performance, which is clearly not a waste of time. Okay, so what else can we talk about in your studios? How many of you do actually record live drums? Thank you. Nancy, I am disappointed about the road rally not being live this year because of the hang factor and getting to see everybody. And I was actually a little privately excited, going, all right, I don't have to do a road rally this year. And then it's like, yeah, okay, I've got to do a virtual road rally. Now I'm realizing that basically nobody else on the staff really has to do that much. I think Bria's going to fly out and sit with me for 3 days here at the house. Last couple of days I've been reaching out to techie companies that specialize in doing live streaming and webcasting and stuff, because I feel like we're going to need certainly some help setting up, and I just want a super duper tech on hand because there are several ways this thing could go wrong, and I have some issues which I don't want to talk about here. It's not that I'm trying to hide them, it's just not that interesting. And I want to know that we've got a security blanket. So even if I have to pay somebody like $500 a day to sit on the couch in our family room with a mask on, I'm going to do it. But anyway, it's starting to suck some time. I'm having to do a lot of research and send emails and make phone calls. So a lot of people recording product or percussion, but not actual drums. It's tough, Um, Tony Salazzo had the clap one. Oh, had recorded live claps. I see. Does that count? Oh man. Yeah, the space is the issue. But I am fairly convinced that you could have a cheap. I know this. I'm certain about this. That you could put a great drummer on like a $200, starter set made by J.C. Penney or Sears and Roebuck or somebody, or pick one up at Costco on the weekend for 99 bucks. Tune it well and put a great drummer on it, and a 57 on the snare, a 421 on the kick, and a couple of large capsule condensers hung strategically in the right places to get enough of the overheads and tom-toms combined and get a great drum sound. Conversely, you could take like a $10,000 set of drums with somebody that's been drumming for a couple of years, put them on there with the same microphones, and it just won't sound as good. So much of it has to do with the player. And I'm also convinced that to a large extent, I know people are going to disagree with me about this, the room is certainly important, but I don't believe that it's as important as people make it out to be, because you can compensate for the lack of a great sounding room by knowing how to mic things well, knowing how to set compressors well, knowing how to EQ well, by good mic choices, and certainly by using reverb well. Where is it? Here's my drum experience right there. That's me playing drums. It's funny, I don't have my earbuds in, so I don't hear what you guys are hearing, and I press the buttons, I see the meters move, so I know that you got the sound. I just have no idea how loud it is. Yeah, I'm very excited though to play with the drums in Logic, mostly because of JP telling me all this great stuff about it, and I openly admit to you guys anyway that I hear music come into Taxi that I can't tell if it's real drums or if it's drums in a box. I just can't tell anymore, and I'm an engineer. I should be able to tell. I'm embarrassed to say I can't. Ooh, Logic has Abbey Road drummer in it? Tell me more. Who uses real bass guitar? Good question. Um, I hear so much synth bass on records that I think that people should have at least played the same part on a real bass with it. Synth bass to me just doesn't have. I know you can, obviously program the sounds, but they sound mushy. They don't have good attack. They don't have bounce. I personally prefer, in many instances, not all, a bass sound that sounds like a rubber band stretched on a shoebox, where it's just got that boing, that kind of rubbery sound to it. I've always said my favorite bass sound that I can instantly remember is the bass on that 1980 hit, maybe 70. I don't know, 70, late 70s, early 80s. Get Down, Boogie Oogie Oogie. I just love the bass sound on that. Stevie Wonder always had great bass sounds on his records. Andre just bought a bass. Core Pair Bass is a great stand-up bass sample. Andy Gabrish. Boy, I haven't heard from Andy in a while. Love the bass sound on Seinfeld. I can't remember the composer's name right now, but I interviewed him for our newsletter many years ago, probably like 20 years ago. Jonathan, whatever his last name is, red hair, moved from LA to bought a compound, bought like the top of a mountaintop somewhere in North Carolina, moved his like his parents out there and his wife and kids and maybe a sister and a brother, and they built like a compound on the side of a mountain or top of a mountain, and that's where he lives now. Basically, that guy is set for life. Very nice guy. Jonathan Wolf, thank you. Um, I bought, remember like, I don't know, 9 months ago, I bought a jazz bass knockoff from a site called Monoprice. I'd never heard of the site before. Apparently, I'm late to the party on that. And I still haven't plugged, well, I plugged it into a little Fender amp. I've got like a little 12-inch, I forget which model, but like a 12-inch modern tweed Fender amp. I plugged it into there. The thing is so well built, looks amazing, sounded fine coming through that amp. I just haven't used it in the studio context yet. Plus, I clearly don't have the touch of a real bass player. Last time I actually touched a bass, I think I was probably like 18 years old, and I'm not 18 anymore. Um, and Anyway, I love that bass. The only complaint, it was like 100 in light change, like $120 or $109. I mean, for that amount of money and for as often as I'll need to use it, it's perfect. I was originally going to buy like a beat up old, used jazz bass, but then I would have had to like get the neck redone. Anyway, the only complaint I have about that bass is that the frets are literally like a micrometer wider than the neck. So you can eat up your fingers going up and down the neck on that. Lucky for me, there's a world class luthier that's like less than a mile from my house. So for $100, I can get it fixed. So that doubles the price. It's still at $200. It's an awesome deal. Um, yeah, I was going to pick up a pawn shop bass, and everything I looked at was, they weren't that cheap. And I really didn't feel like, driving to downtown LA to go pawn shop to check them out. Um, but so after I got that, my friend Michael Lloyd, who's, legendary record producer, songwriter, engineer, all that stuff that did so many of those huge 80s hits, he was at the office, I think, and saw my bass, and he ordered a Sunburst acoustic guitar that he gave away at last year's road rally, also from Monoprice, and it was like $115 or something. And man, he could not shut up about that thing, and he let me check it out backstage right before the end of the road rally. The build quality on that thing was great, sounded great when you strummed it. Again, I haven't recorded it in the studio, and that's always my test. I don't care what they sound like for live because I would never use it for that. But that guitar for $115 was awesome. So yesterday, Michael Lloyd called me, and we were on the phone for about an hour. And he told me that he's ordering a Telecaster for himself from Monoprice. Wow, you gave a Rickenbacker bass to your family doctor? Man, good guy. You are, I mean. Uh, yeah, I tend to try and buy American when I can. I knew that that bass I was buying wouldn't be made in America, but most of the Fender stuff isn't made in America anymore. Years ago, Fender gave me a black Strat with a maple neck on it, and it's made in Mexico. Great guitar. It's got a cold solder joint on one of the pickups. Other than that, awesome guitar. New sponsor, Monoprice. Maybe, I think they're actually based here in Southern California. I kind of remember that. Yeah, we're right now. I was on the phone earlier today with our sponsor salesperson. We're trying to rustle up the sponsors for this year's Road Rally and get them on board with doing their like 30-minute infomercials between panels. And I told the sponsor guy, the people who are going to get the most attention, I told him, go get Sweetwater as a sponsor and have them run a Road Rally special and do demos of very desirable stuff and give ridiculous deals out and do a 30-minute infomercial. Yeah, we're going to do, because we need time to get set up, between the panels. At the Road Rally, we've got a team of people, so we can turn things around on stage in 15 minutes. Yeah, we are going to get some giveaways. That's in the plan. Anyway, just to make sure everything is kosher here in the land of virtual road rallies, we're going to have 30-minute breaks between the panels. And you don't have to watch them, but we're going to sell 30-minute blocks of time for people to do like clinics or infomercials, as it were. Wow, 4:57. 15 minutes ago, I thought this episode feels like it's really long. Are we giving a PRS away again? I don't know. I honestly don't know. The LA rep of PRS has become a good friend of mine over like the last 5 or 6 years. I hope they come back again. Cordial Cables, have not heard of them. Not one squirrel. Yeah, there's definitely less squirrel activity in the backyard today. Maybe some of them have been relocated. I don't know. Let's see. Have squirrels been relocated? I don't know. Yeah, that was a tension cue, all right. Yeah, no tomato eating today. I did find a couple of tomato worms on my plants. Those were definitely dispatched in a hurry. I should. We have a badminton set in the backyard. When my daughter and her husband and our granddaughter come over on Sundays, sometimes for a barbecue, we'll play a little badminton in the backyard. I should have taken the badminton racket and launched the tomato worms into my neighbor's yard just to be a jerk. Yeah, the squirrels disappeared. I don't know where they went. Glad Liz is at the dentist today. She shouldn't know about this. Badminton finger. Did you know? I always thought it was pronounced badminton, but it's actually badminton. Who knew? Aren't you glad you tuned into today's show just to get that factoid? I mean, seriously, badminton. Yeah, our pomegranates got raided by the squirrels too. We've got one pomegranate left on an entire tree. Yeah, I remember the tomato worms bite. I didn't want to peel them off the plant and get bit because they are vicious, so I just took a pair of scissors out there and beheaded them. I'm going straight to hell tonight. Oh, man. I don't know where Darren Moss is today. He must have actually gone to work. Yeah, my neighbors are always wondering, who's that strange guy? They see me out in the backyard every day looking at the tomato plants. I don't know if they've thought about that, but that's what I'm doing. Is I can spend 5 or 10 minutes a plant looking for tomato worms. Why they made them green, I'll never know. Yep, I scissored them. I did, and I'm not. Yeah, I and let me tell you, when you dispatch a tomato worm with a pair of scissors, the stuff that comes out of them, they should use them for like aliens in movies. The stuff that came out of there was just downright ghastly. Oh man. Anyway, all right, you guys. We are a minute over our allotted time. Yeah, I wonder how tomato worms would taste fried. You know, I bet you if you dipped them in beer batter and deep fried them, they'd probably be pretty good. They would certainly be juicy. Um, so with that, I bid you adieu. But please, if you haven't already, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and please, please, please go to the comments today and give me some good topics for tomorrow's Friday show where everybody's going to be partying. I really need some good content for tomorrow's show. I hate coming to class unprepared. You know, I feel like an irresponsible moderator or whatever, host, I guess. They sell crickets at Seattle Mariners games? Really? Is that what it sounds like when the guy walks up and down the aisle? Anyway, crap dipped in beer would probably taste good. Dan, I will never know. Good night, you guys. See you tomorrow for another super duper exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo! Oh man, bye you guys.